Hey y'all. Nice to be here. This is Monday, the first day of the hunt. This is where I go through the list and look for my entries. I mark them up and I record them on my trade targeting. Just because we have the capital to go in does not mean we jump into the trade right away, but that doesn't mean we don't do the homework to find when those trades are coming up. So this will just be an example of me going through my list, me setting up TradingView because I know a few of you have missed that, and then hunting and recording where those hunts are at. And when we find them, we're going to enter those trades and we're going to look where to get out and how much profit we're looking to get within these trades. Always remember that when we're doing this, just play with what you're willing to lose. Things can always go sideways, and let's kick it off. So I start alphabetically throughout all of my tokens, and the master list, if you're in our Discord and in the group, is found in our modules. It's the last module in the entire section, and there's all sorts of downloads you can get for our watch list and the trading journal and chart patterns and all that kind of stuff. So if you have seen me live or doing the show or whatever, you always know I like to start on a bird's eye view and have a look what the token is doing. This does not look good. We are on the weekly. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a trend line, but this is not the color I use for the weekly. I use a gold, just like that. And then I'm going to save drawing template, weekly trend line. Done. If you don't want to drop a trend line, I also like to use parallel channels. Parallel channels always go from your most local high to your last candle is where you're reading from. But if you want to, I should take my tool off lock, save myself some problems later. If you want, you can always extend it down either direction. I try to use the dotted line as the median and where we're looking at going and how we're going to bounce around. We're looking at 3 touches. So this on the weekly definitely looks like it's going down. As it's a weekly, I will change the color to match. And I'm going to be looking for support now with this. And I used my horizontal. I'm going to put this on lock. Now, when this is the weekly high, I tend to make it 2-point. Whoops, sorry if that was loud on the mic. 2-point and gold, because then I know when I see this on lower time frames that it is very strong and it's a high point. This is where it got to at the most. So we know it's probably going to have some resistance when we get to it. Now, the same strategy is I like to do that with the low unlock. So just do it. And I always try to go, me personally, I always try to go off of candle bodies. It's already at 2. Save this as equally low. All right, so let's get back to some support and resistance. I'm going to go where the price action is currently. We call that a weekly horizontal. Man, when you do it live, you got to make sure your spelling's right. And the reason I'm going to cut here because the support and resistance is more localized lately. And that's about all I'm going to do on the weekly for your horizontal price value lines, which I'll light up on the side if you don't know that trading view. Now I'm going to look at where's been our most common area of consolidation. And it seems to be right in this same box at the support and resistance. I use a purple on the inside, same thing. Then I'm going to name this rectangle weekly or weekly rectangle. Looks like on this one is going down on the weekly. This would possibly a good short. We can see right here with the Bollinger Bands and the micro bear bull. Bollinger Band is telling us it's going down. We've already have that action. The curve of our micro bull is telling us it's turning into a bear. It's also following that direction. So if I was looking at something to trade with this coin, I would probably be shorting. And this makes sense when we look at the daily. You can see how much this short would have been good. And it still looks like we're going down. Remember, we're looking for the curve in the bottom of the bear band to indicate that we're starting to come out of that price fall, head towards a correction, and usually a micro bull. So on the daily for a horizontal line, I now change these to a light gray. You can do whatever colors you like. I do these because then it doesn't interfere with anything else I'm using at the time. And I'll just go in, pick a few. I don't want to do too many. And it seems to still be following the weekly channel, so I'm just going to leave that as it is. I would be looking like it's going to come down to these lines down in here, you know. And so that means there probably is, hey, Targaryen, there probably is some steps still to go. We don't have that curl that we're looking for. So if you were looking for a trade on OXO, financial advice fucking course, I'd be shorting OXO or OX or 0x0. I have no idea what the proper name is. Okay, so different on the screen, bear with me. And then I'd always reset the window so when I'm having a look at it on a split trading pairs, I can still kind of see what's going on, and it makes sense that it's walking down. And then when I do see the different support resistance lines, because they're different colors, I know what they mean and where we're heading. Get our tools out of the way. 1 inch. Oh, I like 1 inch. I've done well on 1 inch. So we hop up to the weekly, reset. Now, this makes me happy when I see consolidation like this. This is compression. Compression builds breakouts. If you've been watching our daily fix, or if you've caught a few of these. So when I go back to the trend line, I hit this button and I want to go weekly. It's the one we have saved at the moment. So we have been downwards motion for quite some time. Better take my lock off. Now I'm going to draw up a few horizontal lines on the weekly. We definitely got some right there. My bad. And then I'm going to lock. And sometimes I know if you're just tuning in, this is kind of like watching paint dry. I get that. And then on the weekly, I'll take my all-time high. Now I am going to do my weekly low. As I know if I ever get around this area, it's going to be danger, danger. Now that I'm zoomed in a bit, I'll drop a new weeklies, but it won't be low. It'll be horizontal. Does it make sense if we're hitting resistance and support here on the weekly, we're going to have resistance just like we did here when we go up next. And right in there. And that's plenty. I notice because I'm on lock that did not stay. The other thing I do once I've picked a few support and resistance in my trend lines, I'm going to look for where my areas of consolidation are. And typically they do fall in these same trend lines. So to save myself more space, I'm just going to start here. We can see that it's going this direction. If this stays out after this candle on the weekly, which still has 6 days, it's a retest and we're back off to the races. On a weekly, it's a bit much. I want to see now what it looks like on the daily. And you can see that on the daily, we have broken out, retested here, because that, or sorry, broken out here, retested here. And now it looks like we might have a little stabilization. On the daily, we have a completely different area of consolidation, which is this one. Quickly sort draw it. Crypto Katie did all of this for me. Oops, clearly unlocked. She did all this for me over the weekend, but we did it in my Canna account, not my NFA account. So right now we have consolidation on the daily within weekly consolidation. We do have this micro bear on the daily starting to come up. Where are we at right now from the weekly resistance and price? Because this looks potential here. 5.58%. We're making these kind of percentages in a day. That's massive. I'm definitely going to be waiting to see what's going on here because we don't have that cross yet to signify we're heading into a micro bull, and it could easily just come down and follow this trend line. So now I'm definitely waiting for that action, because we still have it parted there. Now remember, this is a weekly trend line. I don't want to move it. We're on the daily. So if I wanted to mark a daily trend line or a daily parallel channel, let's use a parallel channel this time. We go from our most localized switch from green to red with the highest point. And that right there, we always go off the last previous candle. Sorry. Now I'm going to switch it to the daily color. I just want to make it light gray as well. I'm going to save. So on the daily, we have not broken out. And this is what I'm going to be watching for, which is in this consolidation zone. Now we know this week just started and we said we may be off. So here we are on the last week. We'll see. We'll absolutely see. So what I'm going to do now is, if you have the trade targeting spreadsheet downloaded from our modules, I'm going to go in and put 1 inch. Its current price is 0.396. And on the daily, we're looking at our date today is the 5th. Can't believe it's February 5th already. So our target price, we know, is going to be hopefully somewhere in here, right around where we're at. We want to see some consolidation, get out this line, retest, and then off. And that's where we'll find that 5%. Right now, we don't have it. So when I'm looking for that target, it's going to be somewhere in here. And I'm going to readjust this knowing that it's in here. Hey, Quan, just saying that now. I'm going to readjust this as the days go. I'm not going to marry it. We know what we're looking for. We're looking for the cross and that turn and this bottom line to curl. Sure did here. And if you got in and got out in that time frame, you made some decent money. So we're always looking for confluence when we're talking, using all the indicators together and just quickly maximizing our profit, get in, get out. So I've now made this note in my trade targeting spreadsheet. So now it's on to the next. This could be a very much a possible trade in the next day or two. And 5%, yes, please. Ooh, sorry. So now on to the next, which is, oh, sorry, that was 1 inch. So different when I share screens. Bull with 3. Relatively new token as well. As you can see our critical greed was fired. Now it makes sense it's going to fire here, right? We always wait for the dot as our best indication. Why is it firing here this early? Well, first off, we're on the weekly. And I mean, let's take its lowest low just to that wick. 1135%. Yeah, this is critical greed when you're getting into these kind of percentages. That's a no-brainer, right? But it doesn't mean it still has area to run and pump behind it. And clearly it did. And now we can see on a weekly, we're on this downward trend. So let's drop a parallel channel. Here's our red candle. Go to the last. Will that change it? Sweet. All right. We still need to break out on the weekly. We're in a downward trend. Could very much be a great short. We won't know until we zoom in. Here's our weekly high. Let's get our weekly low in there. Now it's kind of hard to do support and resistance when there's this little. I'm still going to do it here because it was localized. Yeah, that's good. And I'll probably drop one more right there. Makes kind of sense. Zoom in on the daily. I mean, I think that says it all. At least it does in my books. This is a short all day long. We don't have a daily horizontal yet. Okay. So if I did, I didn't save it. And we can see that weekly and the daily is virtually in the same spot. I'm not going to put a daily over that because a weekly's stronger. And I'm just going to grab a few, not many. And we don't really have an area of consolidation. I mean, we do in this area, but everything's saying it's still going to go down. So it's not really consolidated. If it would have held this weekly line and started to go up, yeah, absolutely, absolutely consolidated. So trying to do fast trading in and out of this would be ludicrous, because we can see on a weekly and a daily trend, it's completely on its way down. If we do a daily parallel channel, we can see here we still haven't even broken. One touch, two touch, three touch, four touch. This is probably going to be a 5 or a 6 touch channel. I'm not going to leave the daily in because it's just too many lines, and it just makes it a little bit more of a mess. If you're a shorter, there's a good short. Ave, excuse me a sec. Space Boy, Crypto Katie. Yeah, oh, wow. Shit. Hey, y'all. All right. So, as always, let's hit the weekly. Let's drop our trend lines in. Nuts. My bad. Because I got the tool locked. I wish you could bring the lock into the freaking toolbar or have a key that you can hold down that toggles it on or off. If there is such a thing and you're listening, can you please let me know? That'd be fabulous. So, I'm going to zoom in. Oop, not that way now. Horizontal on the weekly. Gonna lock it I'm just going to drop a few in around the price point because we know they're strong. They're going to hold there typically. Obviously, I won't go over the weekly low. I'll split the differences between these and those. And that's enough. We're down below and we'll need to recess it later anyways. Looks good. Are we seeing areas of consolidation? Definitely. All in here. What is the price difference in these areas? It's going to be huge. What? Oh, why won't it? Oh, I'm dropping mines because I'm locked. Man, we all do that. Price difference between these lines. So it makes sense we'll probably have some resistance at this 89, 88. But just to get up there, 7.12, healthy, healthy percentages. So where are we on this daily? We're looking like we're in a short situation still on Aave. Throw a couple of horizontal lines. We're right around that support and resistance. Look at that. When you want to be locked, you're not. When you want to, you are. And I'm not going to throw too many in. I just want to get around where the price is and the price action so we can kind of get that picture of where we think we're going to go. Come on. There. On a daily parallel channel, let's have a look. One touch, two touch, three touch. This typically means 4 or 5. We're going to be trying to get out somewhere in here. It needs to consolidate right where it is right now. It needs to bounce around in this area and retest out of here because this is our weekly trend and it made it for a bit, but it still came down. We do not have an upwards motion yet. We might get a small one, a slow one, but right now, not looking good for Aave. I'd be looking to short if you're longing. I have a feeling it's going to be probably somewhere in this area. That'd be my 2 cents. Cardano, ADA. Let's put it on the weekly. This looks juicy. Mm-hmm. On the weekly, we're testing. We're going for a retest. I mean, it's been a lot lower before. Mm-mm. Again, this might not look like too much, and I kind of do it a little more zoomed in. But trust me, these are probably some really big numbers. And when we start to see gaps, these are typically places like this where it can run. So that also gets quite exciting and good to know those. This candle needs to stay out on a weekly. I don't watch weeklies too much other than just for trend. We can see we've consolidated here on the weekly. We have a weekly consolidation box right in this area. We can see it past here in history. We can see it here. And this was our support resistance. On the weekly, I'm just going to do this. When you're zoomed in, these don't show up as much anyways, as we'll see right here. It's not giving us too much confusion. We know what this all means. Now on the daily, we can definitely see it's trying to keep this area in here. If you wanted to put a daily consolidation in there, this would be reasonable to me if it holds this on the daily. If it goes down to here, now we're looking at this seems reasonable. And there's no right or wrong. The majority there is in that area, and you could leave it and see if it retests it. Actually, wouldn't be surprised because we can see we're still in it downwards. We haven't curled. It's still pointing down. Let's have a look on a daily parallel channel. Where we haven't retested. You can see this channel, ironic, that how it stayed in between the daily and the weekly channel there. And that could be indicating that it's still on a downwards trend, which it does look like it is to me. You know, so when you move on the daily and you move your, you can see how it clicks and it locks over. Those are your days. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I would now in a trading journal, if I was looking to get into Cardano, I would be looking in a 7 or 8 day. I might look at it quickly every day just to recheck. What kind of percentages are we looking at for returns? Current price to top of that, 6%. We know it has some downward action. So if we were to do the exact same thing, go from current price to down to there, we could be looking at a loss of 3. I'm not a massive Cardano fan because I do find it fairly slow. So personally, I'm not putting it in my journal. Now we're on to AGIX. How do I estimate timeline for entries? Or you just keep an eye? Both. It's applying what you're learning with the ebbs and the flow. And to me, if it's following on the weekly and on the daily, and it's following pattern, that's strength. And then if we can find a trade in either direction in that, we go with it. Support here, resistance on that wick, resistance on those 3 wicks, technically resistance and went back, didn't even make it. So we can see we're getting some pretty big jumps on the weekly, and that jump I bet is tasty. Yeah, 10%. You like it. Now we can see we're consolidating, starting to head up, and we're testing this here. Oh, yeah. Hello. So we can make sense. We're going to hit resistance here. We're coming right up to the cross. This would have been a good entry in here, or obviously in here. All right. But playing safe, we're getting that. Now we're going to look back for it to pull back, which would make sense on the daily. We could have pullback into these areas roughly. And I'm going to split the differences when they're not that lined up. I don't need a ton. I'm just going to put a few in. But we are definitely, in my opinion, here looking at a close entry, and I've done well on AGIX before, and we're in the point of retest. That's why I said this was exciting, because I normally just see it and I don't mark them up this much. So we're out. We're going to have a pullback, and then we're off to the races. I'm thinking we are probably going to pull back somewhere into here territory is where I'm going to be looking for my entry. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to get it by any means, but it's why I look. And these are big. These are giving quite the spread. It's more just an idea of where I think I might be able to get in and when. So on my tracking, or sorry, trade targeting, I'm going to put in AGIX. Today's date was February 5th. And since we are on the daily, I want to check this on the 6th, obviously. And if what I'm doing is I'm going to find where these spreads are. And if I'm finding a bunch at 10, why wouldn't I take those 10s? But if I'm only finding a few at, 5s and 6s or 7s and 8s, then I know this is a strong coin. I have experience with it. Probably going to get out there on the retest for 3.81%. That would be an easy day trade. And on a weekly trade, if you were all right with not panicking holdbacks, you could be looking at 13%. I would probably get out here, wait for the pullback, get back in on the retest on the weekly, and then I think we'd have one of these kind of a candles. And that's where I would ride it from here to here. And this is where I say patience is your best friend. Now I'm just going to put it over here, for example. Where should I? So the curve price on AGIX is 0.28708. That's now on my list. I'm not locked on anything. Go back to where we were. Same thing. I'm going to line this up so I can see it a little better when I have all my screens up. And we can see we're on the daily, and this is a trend on the daily, but we know we're having also one over here for the weekly. Looking good. I like AGIX. Algorand, another one I like. If I say I like it, it's because I've traded it and I know it. And as I've said before, some of these tokens are just given to me by friends that are experienced traders as well. So we're on the weekly. Looking like we're ready to pop on the weekly as well. A lot of compression, which we know builds breakouts. A lot of talk on Link lately. I've been calling Link for a long time. There's so many projects attached to it. Sadly, I've been standing on the sidelines to get a bunch of stuff done. So I missed my own call, but there's always another trade. As we can see, I'm on the daily. Just going to tighten that up a bit. And then I'm going to drop some weekly horizontals, not many. Same thing, it might not look like much. Trust me, this will be a lot. Curse it. Do you check the lower times on AGIX? When I find possible trades, I'll lay it out like this and then absolutely zoom in. If I'm doing fast trades and I can see good compression, that's what I'm looking for on the faster trades. So yeah, I would go on lower time frames, but understand right now this is on a downward trend, but it does look like it is going to pop. So it could be one of those you get in a little bit, it pulls back, but then takes off. I'm addicted to Diet Coke. I could admit that. All right. My mouse is so sensitive, sorry. It's wobbly. So even on the daily, we have not, we're so close. I'd be waiting until tomorrow. What are we on, Algorand? I'm gonna start making some notes into my trade targeting. Today's date. Current price is 1589. We are on the daily. Let's get a daily parallel channel in there. So we're on a downwards trend on the weekly, and we have not retested this daily, only one touch. We need to come out, or we're still heading down. But we see the curve in our micro bear indicator, and we're starting to see compression. Right in here. So it makes sense if it can stay in this area that we're going to get an entry around here. Ooh. Somewhere in here. And obviously, again, this is just estimate, and we need to see that breakout. So we're going to be looking around Wednesday, unless it just snaps. But even if it does take off, we still have a good entry and a good spot to go. Let's get some daily horizontals in. That's about all I need. Now let's measure some of this. Yeah, let's use the tool so it stays. So if we got into where current price action would be roughly, and up to our resistance on the daily, if we surpass that, am I on lock? Oh, I am on. And we go from where we're looking at our targeted entry up to the next 10%. Beauty. Kind of shit I live for. Save that. I'm going to record the daily February 6th tomorrow to check in, see how we're still doing for targets. So what I'm lining up today is the slow trades and getting things all ready for the fast trades. Well, we're on the 4 hour. Yeah, that's a good one. Short. Excuse me. Hilarious. I mean, indicators can't even fire on this because it's so new. Daily, it's maybe curving. If I don't see something I like, I'll just get out. And just on not knowing what this is at the moment, I'm not going to waste my time on it. Adjust this. And you know what? I'm going to hide all my indicators and do it by Confluence. All right, so I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to make a copy. We're going to go copy, save. So here I have it, and I have this, how I'm naming them is for each token that is in it. So when I go to pull up my list, which this one's now called copy, but if I want it to load, I can see what coins are on that list. So we left off on the ALUU, so this one's going to become APE, APT, ARB, ARU, I've got 2 areas on there, 3 on there. Interesting. Must have really liked it. Now I'm going to save. And now I'm going to rename it. What is Cosmos's token? See. So when you actually go to load and you file load, you'll see them all in here, how they're saved. And that'll help you find tokens that you want to look for quickly, or have them all laid out alphabetically. So here we are. Let's get into 8. If there's any previous drawings, I'm just going to remove them. Wait. I'm going to look into getting some lo-fi. Where's my weekly? There it is. Because I played some satellite Sirius radio a while ago and I got flagged already. Oops. I'll zoom in for you for sure. So weeklies, as I always say, strength, very much strength. I'm going to split the differences here. Then let's zoom in. I mean, we can see we're in consolidation in this area here. Much different picture on the daily. Let's do a daily parallel channel. And we have done Ape on the Daily Fix Live. Called it fairly well. If you are an Ape, that's a great episode to check up on. We definitely looking like we have some downs on the daily, and it needs to hold this area on the weekly, which it might look like it'll do. So this makes sense to, at least it does to me, to be our consolidation area in here. This one consolidation box alone is 12.65%, which is nice, healthy returns. What are the indicators saying? Pretty much the same thing. Indicators are showing compression. Very slight turnaround here. It's been trying to fight out of this micro bear for a while. We were talking about that last week, and it's been following the path that we set on the show. This is another one to, I'd be waiting for the cross on this, and then this area in here. But it takes one piece of news from Yuga to make this just skyrocket or sink. This is a tough one for me where this would go, because the daily's saying down here, but we're above the weekly. And if we get that cross, and how fast, like I said, it can pump. Ape is known for doing a quick up and then a quick down. I think if you can get anywhere in Ape around this price point down in here, you're doing well on a trend. That's what I would look at. Somewhere in there. Hopefully it's not going to take this long to get to it, but it might. We'll see. So that there could be the same somewhere in here. We'll have a look. That's just a constant watch. And I know if we have Algo and AGX, we're in the A's. We'll keep a look on Ape as well, because I am an Ape. Take off our indicators. Take off our lock. Let's go to the weekly. Lots of compression. Nice. Not going to use that because that's obviously the day it came out. And the weekly highs and the weekly lows are 2 point thickness versus the 1, which it looks like that there. So when you're zoomed in a little more, they stand out as the highs. I also do that with daily, same color for the dailies. They're just point versus 1. Because we know typically that we'll have compression in those zones. We can see right now we have been consolidating in this area, which makes sense because it's bouncing around in this bottom triangle right here. If we were to do some TA on it, I mean, as a channel, and we should be bouncing around in here and looking for a breakout and an entry. But let's see what it looks like on the daily. Oh yeah, there's your channel right there. Mhm. So to me, it would stand to reason that we could easily, in the position we're in and how much movement we're seeing on this particular token, we could easily be retesting this line down here. And we've seen these wicks down here, which kind of makes me think we need to break this trend, but it's on a downward trend on the weekly for a while. We can clearly see we're getting some compression consolidation in this area right here, which makes me believe our retest should be somewhere in here for the daily, and the weekly, that would be very nice. On the micro bear, micro bull, we have to start seeing a curve here. If this curve is not here, we're not getting an entry here. We're on our way down still. We just got the cross from a micro bull. We're on our way down. So I'd wait for the retracement. If you're looking at trading this on the daily, I'd wait for a pull up and then I'd be shorted. Just out of curiosity of what those lines are, I'll go from daily to daily. There's a quick 5% short, most likely. And then if you did make it down to the weekly resistance support, you'd be looking at 11.6. This is looking good too. Oh, yeah. Oh. Hmm. Strong support. Look how it's trying to get back down to there. This would make sense on the weekly if this was its retest right here in this area. Always has the potential to go more. It'll be interesting to see. Jump down on the daily. So on the daily, we have the wedge forming, looking for our breakout here. If we can hold this line, which is strong by the look of it, we could have a nice breakout to there. Also looks like it could happen soon. And we're looking at a 19.44. Me likey. Leave it at that. Because this is telling me, okay, I'll do. If it gets into this zone here, it's danger. I would not want to be below this weekly support because it looks like it falls fast. If this is 19.44, this is not much less. But I would be looking for entry right around in here somewhere. Good enough. And that's on the daily. What do our indicators like? If you don't know your patterns, we have this compression and a triangle, which typically comes out a retest and then takes off. This one to me just kind of looks textbook. It's going on the chart right now. So it is my trade targeting. Current price 1.735. And I want to see this on February 6th. So this will be a check-in tomorrow. Once we have this kind of compression here, let's see what the same thing. Looks like we're trying to curl there. We're trying to get in this spot. So that the indicators are giving us the exact same thing our technical analysis did, and that is Confluence. This to me is a healthy, strong trade. It's on the list because of that reason right there. And then same thing, I'll set this up a little nicer. Arweave. And I've done well on Arbitrum before. Man, we got a nice group of these coming up. They're ready to pop. Lots of stuff on the weeklies looking juicy. Let's lock this. That's enough on the weekly. We can tell we're already consolidating in this juicy zone. Oh, like there is support resistance in there. Let's drop one. Let's zoom in on the daily. That's close enough to the weekly that I'll leave it alone. And that's good enough. And we can see right now on the daily, we do have this consolidation area somewhere in here. We want to include the wicks. Right now, it makes sense that we're all in that area on the daily. Let's drop a daily there. Again, how much are these lines? Bottom to top of that consolidation right now is a healthy 10%. We can see we're still going down. It's very much possible that we're going to get our curve somewhere in here. It's already gone down. It's also very possible we're going to get our curve. Oops, that's a terrible one. It's also very possible that we get our curve somewhere in there. So this one to me is probably a 2 to 3 day entry to look at for 10% and these little swings. I'll put it down. Why not? Especially if we can get in somewhere in one of these. Most likely our weekly resistance will get hit. Most likely we'll hit these first along the way. So I'm going to put that in. Are we current price 8.294? And we're looking around Friday, which is the 9th. I'll check in on Thursday. Makes sense. Makes sense that if we can get a retest on this, it would be nice. Our daily parallel is right there. So that's why I've been saying let's record it, because we should be able to get down near this bottom entry price. I'll put the target on. No reason to be lazy today. I think we should be able to get somewhere in here. All right, what's up next? Cosmos. Lots of compression. Lots of compression. Nice old token. Remember correctly, it's banking token, to be honest. Nice double top too, like perfect double top. Probably enough for now. I'll give it one more. Why not? Yeah. Just dying to get it. Yeah, let's put our horizontals in first. Wick down, support right there, support, wicks, resistance. Let's see if we have confluence. We definitely have down still. what we want to do is we want to see that belly. And now we see our indicators. I still think we're in a decent buy spot. It needs to be above that golden black line. It's probably going to be somewhere in there, would be my 2 cents. So Cosmos, and it just takes a little bit of news, banking news, and you can see how fast this coin does go. Sometimes it just blows through all these resistances, and those are juicy when they do, right? So it is one I always like to watch. So this will be going on the list right now as well. Current price, 9.049. I'll be looking right around Wednesday, the 8th. Newer token. Definitely looking like we're about to come into a bear, but we've had our touches on the parallel channel, so it could consolidate, take off. Just gonna have a quick look on the daily. Yeah, next. AVAX. I think AVAX is gonna have something this year. Take off our indicators to check for confluence when we're done. I mean, when we talk about compression and breakout, man, huh, what was that? Just a quick 502%. No biggie. After all that. Hmm. So we can see we do have in this channel right here just a ton of consolidation. This Won't hit the weekly because it's stronger. Same there. We seem to sail through that right there, except for that one spot. So we'll split that middle. That's enough. So right now, same thing again. We have this pattern. So we should come out, retest, and then be off. Whether or not this is the bottom of the triangle because it's shown the majority of the support, or whether or not this is because of this withdrawal here, which would mean we'd be having an entry here or an entry here. We've retested on this one, broke out. Now we've come back because it has not retested the weekly. It's retested. Interesting. I think it would hold support on this weekly. I'd like to think somewhere in here would be our target. Where's our confluence? Compression. Sticking down between these two lines. I would be watching this one very closely over the next few days because when it pops, it can definitely pop, which if we go from current price to the next level of resistance, 5, I'm unlocked, perfect, current price. Let's go up to probably, there we are. I think AVAX is going to do big things this year. AVAX is going on the list. You guys are savage. A bunch of you have been here for an hour and a half. Current price, 34.57. Because even on the daily, from its high here, we could also go from its local high here. Looks like we have almost 3 touches down. Oh, yeah, I'm going to watch this one daily. And I'll just put watch as opposed to suspected time. It's also nice that our indicators fire on that a lot because of its tenure. Lots of backdating test points. Let's see. Damn, this is looking good soon too. Lots of compression. Now, could be going into another micro right here, could have compression, then start to take off. Gaming is a massive theme, for lack of better words. genre. Split that difference. And that's probably enough on the weekly. We also do have a parallel channel right here. So if we can retest and break this weekly downtrend and not get the micro bear, micro bull indicator, if this can just compress and then start to take off again, there'll be some healthy returns. But at this point, this is a tough entry on the weekly. Let's just go from here to here on the weekly to see what that would look like. 26%. Big fan of those numbers. What's it doing on the daily? Look at our critical greed fire. This has been a great run. I wouldn't have faulted anybody for going there. That's probably where I would have went. Let's go on the weekly entry and then the Bollinger exit. 21% in 6 days. Brilliant. So we are looking on the daily. And I know that's the weekly parallel channel. So we can see this trend line's going down from a long time ago. We can see we're trying to break out of this daily channel. We have support in these areas here on the daily, right where it's at. It looks funny because the line's right on it. We can see resistance, we can see support, right down big wicks on the resistance. Support. Right now, it's already went below, fighting back. It's needing to get into here somewhere, and then it's off to the races. If it does, this is definitely one I'll be watching. Will it ever get back to its all-time high? I don't think so. So we're going to want to start to see that curl. If we don't get it, we obviously don't want to be in there. You can see it's fighting. I will be adding this to the list right now. Current price 687. Probably Wednesday the 8th is where we'd be looking. Thursday, yeah, Wednesday. Let's check Wednesday, which is the 7th, I believe. Yeah. That's another 8 that we just did. So 16 for the day. Did we? Oh, no, we just decided 8 wasn't worth it. Right? So now we're going to save. We're going to make a copy. We're going to call, make a copy. Oops. So we know our last token was Axie. We go to our list, jump between screens. There's blockchain bets. I think this one's going to be a big one. Beam, same thing with Beam. Big lover Beam at the moment. Gambling, gaming, a few things that I think are going to be doing well. Go big time. Speaking of gaming, this is another one I think will do very well. There is lots of use case for big time, lots of players for big time. BNB might be a tough one for Binance. This is another recent gambling token that was given to me by a friend, and he usually hits bangers. Where did I go now? I have no idea what that is, I'll be honest. Bytes is Becker's and Elio Trades token for Neo Tokyo. This will probably pump again. I'd be shocked if it didn't. After Bytes, we are looking at Cake. I love Cake too. All right, where are we at? We're at an hour and a half in. Before I start this one, I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break because I've drinking half a liter of water and 2 glasses of Diet Coke. But I'll be back in about 10 minutes if you're still here. I'm just going to go on mute, and then I'll start these next 8 momentarily. I hope to do another hour and a half for all those that are watching and want to continue to watch. And then that'll give me a little bit of time to prep for the daily fix. And we'll go from there. All right, I'll be right back. We're back. It's always nice to take a break after a good hour and a half. Let's go on the weekly. Blockchain bets. This will be a quick one. I can see the comments. Island Guy, we're still here. Great to still have you here. Katie, thanks for letting people know I did go on a break. And hopefully you all did too. Let's get off the hook. So if this holds this line, which seems reasonable, it's wicking to body here starting to go up. We have again a very nice bullish wedge here. So sometimes when I'm just thinking to, does it do it? So this here would be definitely a danger zone if it doesn't hold this on the weekly, because then it is going down to that. Let's take this as the average spread of what price action looks typically like. That spread, and this is what I'll do every now and then, is just to measure, okay, if that's the average, a little less than average of the candles. That's a decent 33%. Me likey. It does look like we are starting to get the curl. So if this continues to walk down, it hasn't broken the trend, obviously on the weekly. I moved all my tools, so it's just taking me a sec. On the daily, the price is pretty much going the same to the weekly, minus a few steps. Split that there. Look at that weekly hold right around the price action too. Pretty big strength. It came all the way down and then made it to there. That's some pretty significant strength. Same with being forced down. It does start to look like we're getting this curl. This is what I was kind of talking about too the other day. We are not too late. There's always another trade, and people are just starting to wake up. We've actually been in a bull run a lot longer than most people think. We've been making higher highs and higher lows on all the majors. Altcoins are not majors. They do not dictate markets. That's why watching the total market cap and the money flow is so important if you're playing alts, because you can get wrecked fast by not watching that. Like to see somewhere in here. Let's put this in perspective. Current price to its next weekly resistance, about 18%. So it's fair to say half of that would be about, well, hold on, is it 60? My glasses. My bad. It's clearly a clear 16 where the last was a fuzzy 18. So that's what we're looking for. We may get this retest. The stronger retest will obviously be on the weekly, which would be down a bit. But the daily, it's looking like it wants to break out, get up to resistance, and then fall again. And that's where we'll take those smaller percentages. But blockchain bets is definitely making the list. Current price 0.02, 3045. I'm going to check this one tomorrow. Nice and early. Oh yeah, now it's a little dot for sure when I do it on that too. Nice. Oops. Really new token, a ton of stuff. If I didn't know much about this token, I probably would have just walked away because it's so new. Actually, I'll do a trend line. I mean, we can. How many of these have we seen so far today? Right. Sorry, my mouse took off there. You get my point. And then we should retest and take off. I'm going to just split these bodies and these wicks. Again, gaming token, if I didn't mention this earlier. I mean, I love seeing ebbs and flows like this. Love it. We're showing on the daily lots of support down here. We're holding this weekly line at the moment. This is starting to make sense. It's not making sense as I can't remember how to keep the fucking lock tool on a horizontal line. I'm going to split that difference. Call the top, so split that difference. Just finding some juicy layups right now. Beautiful. Oh, just missed 420. Happy past 420, people. I think we're going to be somewhere in there for our target. It's at our confluence. Making sense. We're starting to see this belly. That's what we want to see. If we don't see that tomorrow, we readjust and we continue to watch. But it's holding this weekly, which is strong. here. Seems to do these kind of price movements really fast. Get in, get out, or house trade. Me like you. Beam is going on the list. Price 0.017. Now these are all just on the dailies. This is slower trading. You should always zoom in to find your best entries on the lower time frames. I'm trying to mark a bunch up so they're ready to be all examined on what time frames. I'll usually mark them all up and then just start to rifle through them if they make that list that we're keeping track of throughout different points of the day, because as we know, market cap can just infuse money and these things start to take off, or these lines happen faster and we want to catch them. It's a lot of price action in a day, but it's finding them that are coming up to it and then finding what the best time of entries are. So Beam is done. Big time. Anybody else singing that song in their head right now? I believe it was an 80s tune. Or did I just date myself? Same thing again. We got so many of these bullish wedges. I'm going to be on the daily, aren't I? Literally all we got really for outside of the high and the low, not bothering with how fast we're going to probably get out on these. I mean, look at this intersection of the weekly trend and the daily parallel channel, and then our curve of our micro bear looking like it's going to come to an end. Now, if we get the cross, we know we're going to go up higher. But if it just starts to consolidate in here, get out, take your money. Definitely on the daily, looking like this might start to do this, which would make sense because of the weekly support and daily support. 1, 2. I mean, it's at its 3, 4. All we need is that retest right there. And let's add some more dailies in here. Have I done any dailies yet? I'm not going to bother because it's so close to the weekly. This is where it gets tough in here because it went right over and then the weekly is already there, clearly wicking down. What are we looking at in terms of percentages? healthy 21 stands to measure, then, obviously the half in the middle. And tomorrow sometime, if that candle can stay above the line and this starts to curve, does not fall back, tomorrow would have to be the retest now that we're on the daily to play 100% safe. But if we're getting a whole bunch of this and money into the market, this will go fast because it's micro. So big time I'll put on the list as well, because that is some juicy percentage. They're at 0.32410. Thank you, big time. I am really curious to Binance. I'm sad they left Canada. It was an amazing platform for the GUI, the ease of use. So far, what I've learned so far, every trade is the same. We're having a lot of similar patterns, absolutely, and that's what we're zooming in for. I mean, we just missed Link, right? There's going to be, we need to find the narratives of what happens and when it's going to happen. If they're looking like this so far, that's a very good thing, because it means they're getting ready, and we're not going to miss these ones. Oh, I'm not going to miss them at least. That's probably our weekly low. Let's go into there. It's probably plenty. Let's get into the daily. Oh yeah, bullish. Oh, beautiful. Now, where are we on? Parallel. Why does that look wrong? Here's a retest right now. It's a retest for two different time frames on the daily. We have not retested the weekly yet. We can see we have still, it either needs to break this, which it could possibly do. It's been tested. It's been tested, but it hasn't succeeded. So to me, this would make sense that might get a wick or something at that point. But these highs and lows on this, are they worth it? Not for 1% when we're seeing everything else. We can see we're in compression. Yeah, there we are. Do I think it's worth it? No, not at this point when we're finding all this other stuff. Unlocked. Okay. Let's just take it from current price, 7.58. And then let's take that right down to the weekly spread. Yeah. And for how long it's doing it, we found so many others. Bye-bye. Another gambling token. See it. Are you even going to be anything on the weekly? Oh, imagine catching that. Somebody, that's a fat finger, I reckon. Oh, it's got to be a fat finger. This looks like it's ready to go. That does the finger have to be to get that high? He missed a zero, probably, to be honest, or two by the look of it. That sucks. They're sometimes called God candles. I call them a very bad day for somebody and a very good day for somebody else. Sorry, I'm just thinking on this one because I know where I got it from, and I was told about it back in here. So it's starting to look like we're going to run, and that's on a weekly. Yeah, just got the cross on the daily. There it is. So I'd be waking this here would be an entry pretty much as soon as we got a possible good pullback. We've had quite a bit of up. I'm not saying get in this right now. We'd be chasing greens all day long. But oops, we should be off to the races because we have this cross. I'd be waiting for it definitely. And what are we looking at, just so I know? Huh. Don't tell me I don't bring a present. First coin to go 4 hours. Imagine if you got in here just by reading it, which is what makes me sick because I've known about this for a while. I've just been busy. Anybody want to do 471% in 9 days? Did I say 9 days? That's not right. Well, it is 9 days. Interesting. How's that 9 days if this is 4 hours? What am I missing? It does say. Well, this must be frozen. This is not making sense. Save this. Give me a second. I'm going to shut this down and refresh. Hold on. I'm going to have to take a little more time to figure it out. So I'm going to call it quits here. I don't know if I have too many programs running or what, but it was clearly not switching between the time frames. Shut it down, restarted, still not doing the same thing. But thank you for the couple of hours today. And I'll get to the bottom of this. And I'll see you on the Daily Fix tonight at 7 PST. Ciao, everybody.